You ever hear something that makes your bones cold? Not your skin, not your heart, your bones. I did, and it came from a bell that shouldn't have rung because it was cracked straight through. Our town's church bell, silent for decades, suddenly woke up one night, and it rang backwards. It all started with a whisper. Father Alden, the oldest priest in Hollow Creek, started saying strange things during his sermons, talking about time bending, about sins being rewound. Most people thought he was just getting old, a bit soft in the head. But not me. I was the church caretaker, and I saw things others didn't, like the soot around the altar, even though no candles were lit, or the water in the font turning black, then clear, as if it changed its mind. They said the bell was blessed in 1893, but cursed in 1901. That's when the crosses on it flipped. Some blamed vandals, some blamed war, but the bell never rang again. Not until that night. I was in the steeple room fixing the ceiling leak. The town was quiet, too quiet. Even the dogs weren't barking. Then, at exactly 11:57 p.m., I heard it, a bong, but it was off, like a tape being rewound. It echoed backwards, a rising note that chilled the air. I ran to the window, the streetlights flickered, my phone died, and I swear on everything holy, the moon moved. I bolted downstairs, heart hammering, but I froze halfway, because there, right by the altar, stood Father Alden, not kneeling, not praying, just staring at the bell rope, trembling. "I didn't touch it," he whispered, voice shaking. "It wants to be heard." Then came the second ring. It knocked me off balance, like the air flipped upside down. Time didn't feel right. The candles lit themselves, fire burning blue. The pews creaked like someone invisible had just sat down. Father Alden turned to me, tears running down his cheeks. "The sins are climbing back," he mumbled. "Every chime undoes the soul." I wanted to run. I swear I did. But my legs were stuck. My hands shook. The paintings of saints on the walls? Their eyes followed me now. And the statue of Mary? It had started melting. Then I looked at the priest again and gasped. His hair, once white, had turned black. His wrinkled skin looked smooth, but his eyes, they were hollow. Like the life inside him was reversing, but his soul was being dragged backward too fast. "Father," I cried, "what's happening to you?" He looked up, not like a man in pain, but like a man who remembered dying before. "It's too late," he whispered. "Midnight's the third chime, and time doesn't forgive." I heard the bell rope snap upstairs, and then the final horror began. The third chime was coming. The moment the third chime struck, the world didn't shatter. It unwound. The sound didn't echo like before. It sank, pulling everything with it. My knees buckled. I grabbed onto the pew, but even the wood felt different, wetter, older. It wasn't polished oak anymore. It was rotted, splintered, like it had aged backwards past repair. Father Alden stood motionless, not younger now, not older, just stuck, like someone caught mid-breath. His lips moved, but no sound came. His hands clutched the air, fingers curling and uncurling, as if reaching for something already gone. The flames on the candles began to spin instead of flicker. Around and around, tight like spirals, humming soft Latin hymns in reverse. I stumbled outside, gasping for air. But the church door didn't lead to Hollow Creek anymore. Not the Hollow Creek I knew. The sky was bruised purple, and two moons hovered side by side like open eyes. Houses across the street stood half-built, half-decayed, swaying gently like memories being rewritten. I turned and looked at the bell tower. It wasn't cracked anymore. It was whole, but glowing red-hot like it had just been forged. A scream broke the air. It came from behind me, inside the church. I rushed back, heart thudding, and what I saw made my soul crawl. Parishioners were filling the pews. People I hadn't seen in years. Mrs. Fallon, who died in '92. Tommy Rivers, the altar boy who drowned when I was 10. And my grandmother, sitting in the third row. Her dress, the same as the day we buried her. Eyes forward, hands folded. None of them breathed. They just sat there, watching the altar, where Father Alden now floated 6 feet off the ground. Not levitating, dangling. His limbs twitched as invisible forces pulled and twisted his body, like God himself was trying to turn him inside out. I tried to run, but my legs moved in slow motion. The air thickened like syrup. The paintings on the walls blurred and bled, saints turning to demons with cracked halos. Then, a whisper filled the air, not from one voice, but hundreds. "Confess," backwards. I didn't know what that meant. My head throbbed. I fell to my knees. and suddenly I remembered a sin I never told anyone. Something small, something from when I was 6. I broke into the sacristy. I stole the communion wine. I watched ants drown in the cup. The moment the memory surfaced, the room shuddered. A pew snapped in half behind me. One of the ghostly churchgoers smiled. That's when I realized the truth. This wasn't a haunting. This was penance, run in reverse. The church was collecting sins by pulling them back out of us. The bell. It wasn't calling the faithful. It was unforgiving the forgiven. I saw my reflection in a broken stained glass shard. I was younger, too young, a boy again, and my mouth whispered the wrong things. Not prayers, but names. Names of people who had died, and the secrets I kept about them. Father Alden turned his head mid-hang and looked right at me. His face was hollow now, a cave of teeth and stretched skin. "They're not here for me anymore," he gurgled. "They're here for you." I screamed. The fourth chime rang, though there were only supposed to be 3. And then the floor opened beneath my feet. I didn't fall for long, just long enough to forget the idea of light. My body tumbled through shadows stitched with whispers. My ears rang, not from the fall, but from the memory of that fourth chime, a sound too loud for the world, too deep for the soul. And then I hit something soft, not ground. Pews, broken, scattered, old as bones. I was back in the church, or a version of it. The walls pulsed like lungs, breathing in and out with every sin I remembered. Faces, half-formed, blurry, some I recognized from old funerals, dripped from the rafters like melting wax. They didn't scream, just watched, judged. And behind the altar, the bell sat now, not in the tower, but in the center of the nave where the crucifix used to hang, bigger than before, no longer cracked but whole, humming low with ancient hunger. The inverted crosses along its base glowed dull red. The clapper swung slowly even though nothing touched it. "Choose," came a voice. Not spoken, but breathed into my skull. A figure stepped forward from the dark. It was Father Alden, or what was left. His body bent backward, head twisted nearly full around, mouth stretched wide in a grin he didn't wear willingly. His robes dragged on the ground, torn and flickering with ash. "Every 13 tolls, it takes one of us," he rasped. "To stay young, to stay clean, to stay forgiven." He pointed toward the pews. Children sat there now, their eyes sewn shut, their mouths mumbling hymns in reverse. And among them, I saw myself, a younger me, no more than 7. Clutching a Bible with hands already bruised, that boy turned his head slowly toward me. He smiled. I backed away, heart pounding so loud it drowned out the whispers. "You were spared," Father Alden continued. "Long ago. You forgot. But it didn't. It marked you. Watched." The bell chimed again. 5th toll. This time, blood poured from the seams in the floorboards. A new voice echoed. Higher, female, crying, "I never meant to break the vow!" Another toll. 6th. From the ceiling, something dropped. A body, young, wearing a choir robe. 7th. A wedding dress floated down next, empty, then filled with dust and bone as it hit the ground. 8th. The stained glass windows cracked, showing faces pressed against the other side. Familiar ones, family, friends, all staring back at me like they'd been waiting. 9th. The air burned cold, so cold it peeled layers off my skin. I cried out, but no sound escaped my throat. 10th. The children in the pews began to chant in reverse. 11th. A clock ticked, but there was no clock in the church. 12th. Father Alden wept without tears. His voice trembled. "You can't escape this time! The bell remembers!" And then, silence. Just for a moment. A heartbeat. Then, 13th. The final chime. Everything stopped. The shadows froze. The candle flames held their pose mid-flicker. The whispers quieted like a breath drawn in. And then, the bell spoke. Not in words, in knowing. I saw my whole life. My sins, small and large, my betrayals, my silences, my stolen innocence, not judged but counted. The bell wanted to balance the scale. The pews split open. Roots of iron curled up, wrapping around my ankles. The altar cracked, revealing a pit lined with watches. Each one stopped at different seconds. All 13 past midnight. I was being chosen. Until someone stepped forward. It was the boy version of me, the child I saw earlier. his hand stretched toward the bell. "I'll go," he whispered. The church groaned. The bell hesitated. And for a moment, I understood. It didn't need a man. It needed the memory of a man, a soul caught at the age of guilt, a sacrifice not made of flesh, but of regret. The bell tolled once more, a 14th time, and the boy was gone. Everything shattered. I woke up on the front steps of the church, alone, the town quiet, the sun rising, not backwards this time, just normal. Inside, the bell tower stood empty, the altar clean, the pews polished. No one remembered what happened, except me, and every midnight since. I hear that chime, only once, just one, but it's getting louder.